100,000 people, mothers, fathers, families, all walking away from the only world they had ever known. They didn't live because of doctrine. They didn't live because of temptation. They left because of betrayal. If you are new here, welcome to the channel that religious leaders wish you never discover. I'm Dr. K, a theologian, consultant, polemist, and author. In addition to 3 other degrees, I hold 2 PhDs and a degree in theology with distinction. But forget about the diplomas. What sets this channel apart is our relentless pursuit for truth. The deeper we dig, the more shocking it gets. If you crave for such deep dives, subscribe and smash the notice bell so that you don't miss what is coming next. For decades, they gave their time, their youth, their money. But when the truth about where the money went finally came out, everything changed. This is the breaking point. In part 1, we uncovered the sparks that ignited a worldwide awakening. The Australian Royal Commission, the billion-dollar Brooklyn property sales, and the flood of information unleashed during the pandemic. These events cracked open the facade, revealing a glimpse of what had been hidden for decades. In part 2, we stepped beyond that threshold and exposed the inner workings of the organization's financial empire and exposed what people discovered that made them leave. And in today's episode, we explore the breaking point, why these revelations drove more than 100,000 Jehovah's Witnesses to leave behind everything they once held sacred, the cost of faith. Leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses isn't simple. It's not like switching churches like many people do in the rest of Christendom. It means losing your family, your friends stop answering your calls, your parents may never speak to you again. It means losing your entire world as you've known it. Your whole social network gone just like that. And still, one by one, people started leaving. They weren't leaving because of unbelief. They were leaving because of deception, a former elder claimed. I skipped vacations. I drove odd cars. I even postponed medical care so I could give more. For 25 years, I donated faithfully because I was told it went to missionaries and disaster relief. When he dug into financial records, the truth hit like a punch in the gut. It didn't go to missionaries. It funded a billion-dollar real estate empire and corporate portfolios. That's not faith, that's fraud. The betrayal of trust. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught from childhood that the watchtower is God's sole channel of truth. Questioning it means questioning Jehovah himself. That's why when members learned what was really happening, it shattered something sacred. Brooklyn property sales worth over $1 billion. Kingdom halls sold without congregation's consent. Funds disappearing into corporate accounts, while local members were told to trust a faithful and discreet slave, who is neither faithful nor discreet. Former congregation accountants described it plainly. Headquarters ordered every hall to send fixed monthly donations, whether they could afford it or not. And here is the worst irony, shocking, that some congregations had to take loans from headquarters to send money to headquarters. That's not faith-based giving. That's financial control. Here's the clip.
But when it comes to giving, it's an individual responsibility, as the verse says, resolved in his heart or her heart, not grudgingly. And the footnote addresses the word reluctantly. So it's not like we embarrass people, beg them, look, you're well off, why aren't you giving more? Well, that's not their business. That's not our business. We have to resolve in our own heart. So while we discuss money, we never come across like we're putting people and trying to get them to even grudgingly give just so we get the money. That's not this organization.
One elder said it best. We were told to be like sheep, but it turned out we were livestock, producing for the corporation, the face of hypocrisy. For years, Jehovah's Witnesses were taught to avoid materialism, to live simply, to trust Jehovah, and shun worldly ambition. Here's a clip from comical Stephen Lett.
Now, if we think about Jesus' words in today's text, give us today our bread for this day, there's really indirect counsel against materialism. See, Jesus didn't say to pray for our daily meat or some other luxury food item. He didn't even say that we should pray for a month's supply of bread. Pray for and be content with our bread for the day. But as we know, a sizable number of Jehovah's people today are being distracted by materialism. So since this is not an imagined, but it's a real danger to Jehovah's people, let's discuss the theme, beware of the power of materialism.
But the men who preach simplicity were operating like CEOs or Fortune 500 companies. Whilst members skipped dinners to fulfill the pledge, Watchtower was flipping real estate for record profits. Whilst rank and file avoided higher education, the society's lawyers and accountants used corporate loopholes to protect billions in assets. A former missionary said, "They taught us to live like pioneers, but they lived like executives. I taught my children to avoid greed, and I was funding it." Cognitive dissonance turned into disgust. The veil had lifted, and the hypocrisy was undeniable. Discarded servants. But perhaps the cruelest revelation came right from inside the heart of the organization itself. Bethel, the house of God. For decades, young Jehovah's Witnesses were told to surrender their lives for Bethel, to go and work for Jehovah as the highest level of service that gave you a straight ticket into paradise, almost skipping Armageddon. You were assured that when Armageddon came, you would be saved from it. Young witnesses dreamed serving there, building books, halls, and faith itself. Here is a dramatized clip.
That's great. Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
So who wants dessert?
I'll have a little piece.
And I'm gonna have a lot. So, Aiden, what you been up to lately?
Well, I'm about to graduate soon.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait. And, I'm thinking about applying to Bethel.
Okay, Bethel. All right, really?
Yeah, I've been wanting to do it since I was a kid.
Okay.
Bethel's nice, but you gotta think about your future.
Yeah.
How will you support yourself, or how would you support a wife after Bethel?
You can still serve Jehovah right here.
That's true.
I know, I get it. When I was your age, they told me the end could come tomorrow too.
Yeah.
But look at us. We have a real comfortable life.
And we're still witnesses, Aiden. You're so young and smart. There's so many opportunities open to you right now. It's nice that you have spiritual goals, truly. But you also need to be realistic.
He's being realistic.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways you can serve Jehovah at Bethel.
Like what? Washing windows?
But if it means putting Jehovah first, is there anything wrong with that?
Of course, nothing's wrong with that. It's just that he could have so much more.
They worked for hours for a small allowance, convinced Jehovah would take care of them until they weren't needed anymore. What a shock. Between 2015 and 2020, thousands of Bethel workers were dismissed. Some after 30 or 40 years of unpaid service. They were given a small check, no pension, and a reminder not to bring reproach by discussing it publicly. They said, I couldn't even put Bethel on my resume. 30 years serving Jehovah, and now I'm 60, broke, broken, and invisible. They built kingdom halls, but they were left with nothing, the silence. When confronted, the Watchtower didn't explain, it attacked. Convention speakers warned of satanic misinformation. Elders were told to report anyone sharing negative information. Members who asked where the money was going were labeled apostates. One former elder said, they never answered the questions, they just called us unfaithful. That's not how truth behaves. That's how power defends itself. The government commissions demanded transparency. Courts uncovered complex corporate structures. But the Watchtower's response was always the same: silence. No audits, no explanations, just more donation drives. For many, that was the final insult. They saw the empire that was built on their faith and realized it no longer they saw. The awakening. But the silence came with something powerful: community. Across Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, former witnesses found each other. They compared notes, shared leaked documents, and realized they weren't alone. They were part of something bigger. In 2015, the XJW Reddit had 8,000 members. By 2024, that number surpassed 95,000. Dozens of channels, millions of views, thousands of stories, all echoing the same truth. We weren't crazy. We weren't apostates. We were witnesses who finally saw what was hidden. They called them mentally diseased, but the accountants, nurses, teachers, lawyers, people who simply asked, where did our donations go? And when no answer came, they walked away. They lost everything and gained their freedom. They stopped knocking on doors and started opening them. They left the Watchtower Society, but they didn't lose their faith. They didn't leave God. This isn't apostasy, it's awakening. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, like, subscribe, and smash the notice bell so that you don't miss the next episode. If you didn't watch part 1 to part 3 of this series, click on this link.